On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves and a partridge.
I don't even know what to do with that.
What do you think, Jeff?
I don't know. Like I don't even know what to do with that. Like, can I get him Bob, or you sing with it, or just
It's appropriate to move. Just keep one foot on the ground.
yeah. I'm not gonna come.
Just keep one foot on the ground.
Or you're dancing.
He's got a
Yeah.
headbang really fast.
I don't know. Who is that?
Reliant K. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, that's Cody's. Apparently, Cody's favorite Christmas song.
It's one of them.
Cody's,
One of them for sure.
Cody.
Always a fun time.
Obviously, we have somebody
Thomas
younger
joining us today.
in here. Yeah. We're not listening to Andy Williams.
Nothing wrong with that
It's a
either.
holiday season.
Hey, I would have picked that one, but you already did last week, so I don't
That's a
want to bring
great
it back.
song, dude.
He's just making you feel better.
Yeah,
I tend to do that
know.
sometimes.
Cody does that. Cody does that with me. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Cody, like, I don't know if he. I
Little
wonder if he
sympathy
feels
card.
sorry for me. He's like, oh man,
Hey, man.
Sympathy
I'm
Sometimes
sorry for Pastor Jeff. It's okay, dude.
let's coddle him and take care of him.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Well, yeah, Patty's tied up this week. She's got some family members that are in the hospitals that they're dealing with. So we'll be praying for Patty and her family. But so Cody stepped in to help out.
Happy
Thanks
to be
for-
here.
Glad he did, man.
Thanks for being here,
It's
Cody.
awesome.
All right, we have a few things to address first of all from the message before we
With
actually
Cody.
discuss
First,
it.
we got to talk to Cody first.
We got what do you want to talk to Cody about?
I mean, just we don't get to get Cody online.
Well, I could
don't.
imagine
you
that-
guys do when I'm not here,
Yeah,
but
that's true. I can imagine Cody probably wants to talk to you about bringing up 6'7" again.
Oh my word!
Is the first
It's demonic.
thing that we
It's
need to-
demonic.
Where did that come from?
I heard that. I mean,
So-
I saw it online somewhere. It says
Yeah.
you're actually conjuring demons if you say 6'7" over and over again.
So
for a
I
long
saw
time, every time we count.
Yeah, I never saw like the original video. I saw someone like reacting to it, and I didn't finish it because I'm like, these are just the people who like want to harp on all these holidays being
Right.
pagan, and it's between
Yeah.
two. And so like, oh, we got to run with this for a little bit and see how that goes. And I was like, I don't have time.
No, the only reason I
this
did
mess.
it is because, man, just I won't name her, but a little girl came up and said, "Hey, Pastor Jeff, I'll give you $50 if you say 6'7".
Did she own it? Like, keep her part of the bargain?
Yeah, I just started laughing, man.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, but it was so sweet because she's very quiet and doesn't really,
Yeah.
and I know her family very, very well. And I thought, man, that was really cool. So she's just sitting there waiting with anticipation to see how I could work it in. So that's the only reason I did that.
There
Yeah.
you go. It was a good way to work it in.
Yeah, man. Well, and they were just over there laughing. She just loved it.
Yeah, we used to
That's
do
great.
something similar. At my previous church, I'd do the announcements every Sunday. And when we'd be back in the green room, the worship team was like, all right, Cody, here's your word. You have to try to fit in
Yep.
this week. And so,
Yeah, Julie used to do that to me. She'd give me a word. We actually heard a word last night that she goes like, "Man, you got to try to use this," but it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
yeah.
Yeah, your daughter did that to me one time.
Yes.
The video, Mary Chrysler, Happy Kerba.
Yep.
I forget which one, but they were wanting me to say one of them, just like welcoming to whatever, because I'm off the cuff anyways. Obviously, I froze again this
You
week.
lose your place, dude. I mean, what is up with that, dude? Like, do you just get up there and just start rambling and kind of lose your and just kind of like what happens? Like, what happens?
All
in
right,
those
so
moments for
if
you?
I think ahead of time, I'll know like, all right, I'm going to welcome. I may talk about this, and then this is how I'm getting into the. If it's just at spur of the
Yeah.
moment, usually it's like, oh, I want to bring this up, and I'll talk about that, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I can't think of like where. How do I?
I got to that point, but how do I get back?
Yeah, I can get the plane off the ground, but getting it back down.
The landing's the
What's
hard
so
part.
funny, man, is like when you get in one of those, I'm just sitting there going, dude, just start playing, just start playing. Because you'll start talking to you, go, and anyway, basketball, worship, Jesus. Okay, let's start playing. And it's like, it's like you're having a stroke or something.
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, I don't know where I'm going from here, so let's just do this now.
Panic.
Then you just say like single words.
Oh.
And then it just you start.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Music. Okay.
All right, man, let's go.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
It's funny now that I've realized Polly's wife Julie, me and her have the exact same personality, like down to the like sub personality. And so I'll look over at her and she sees it coming and she's like, oh no. Like retreat.
She's like going, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But it was fine. We made it through.
That was great, dude. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All good.
The
So,
other
Cody,
thing.
now,
Okay,
Dude,
fine. What are we talking about, Cody?
well, I mean, the student building, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's coming along.
Very much is.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in the new student building?
I think just the memories are going to be able to make in that space.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to make some cool ones down here in the basement and getting to see some of the connections that are made with the students. But them having a dedicated space beyond that for those moments is going to be really exciting to get to see. And just the opportunity opens up for growth because there's been a couple Wednesdays down here. It's gotten packed out. It's like a goldfish to a bowl. It kind of grows to the size of it. So giving some more space for that. So
I think the time is going to be the timing of the opening is going to be really good too.
Yeah.
You know, sometime in the summer, like right before school starts. I mean, it's. I think we're going to be able to kind of soft launch and then, man, really blow it out once school starts.
For sure.
Which is going to be awesome, man.
Yep, I'm excited for it.
Have you been up there lately?
I was just
around?
up there yesterday.
Yeah.
It looks like they cut the stage down a little bit height wise, which I'm fine with. Like I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if that's permanent. Like either way, like it'll be good. But I think.
No, I mean, I think that's because I went up there the other day and I noticed that. I'm like, because I think somebody had told me that they thought it was a little high.
Yeah.
According to plan. Which I'm like, okay. You know, but then I'm up there this week, and it looks like they'd cut the top off of it or something.
Yeah, I think
so they took it down. Yeah,
which I'm fine with because sometimes like there's a sweet spot whenever you're on a stage like that. Because in the Life Center, I felt like the stage was way too tall.
High. Yeah,
like,
we always
because you feel like you're just lording over everybody at that point.
So you never saw this, but so we had the gathering in there when I first started. I didn't start it, but anyway, when I started doing it in there, we created we called it the State Fair stage or something like that.
Nice.
So we had a little wooden platform that was built.
County Fair stage.
County Fair stage that was lower than because I agree. I mean the stage in there was just way too high. But that was just all driven by the rock. That was in there because literally like in where the Life Center is now and that back area of storage, they literally had to carve that out of rock.
Yeah.
So they just carve. You know that was really a difficult build because none of that was there before.
Yeah.
And they added that on. So, but anyway, I just think it's going to be amazing once we get in there and get all that done, taken care of, and
you know the little risers that are like 2 foot tall, if that the keyboard and drums and everything sit on. At first, that's what he had when I moved here. That's what he had down there. So it was like just on this little
barely
and then like the stage is way up here.
Yeah.
I was like, we gotta do something with that.
A nice
so we
backdrop with the stage.
Yeah. So we built a little bit taller one that made somewhat more sense. But
yeah, it was good, man.
Good times.
We made it work.
But excited for the student building. They also today's Tuesday. Yesterday they got the pad for the Welcome Center poured.
Pad for the Welcome Center poured. Yeah, got it finished.
It looks great.
Really
and just
good,
seeing that. Like it was, you could somewhat picture it, what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But just seeing a level concrete floor is like you can
just
see
add so much more to it.
Yeah, you can see what's coming.
And that's always the interesting thing to me because like walking the pad of the student building before the steel went up, it's like this does not feel as big.
I know.
Yeah,
man, that's exactly how I felt.
But once steel gets up, like, and even when the walls start coming up, like you felt that way walking through the pre-existing lobby in those classrooms that are now being converted. Like you're like, oh man, is this really going to all fit?
Yeah.
And now it's got the defined walls with drywall and everything. You're like, okay, this is really cool. See how
it's pretty amazing.
It really feels at that point.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's going to be great, man.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had to address with you, anything else you wanted to say to Cody?
No.
I mean,
any more questions?
Packers are back at their rightful place as kings of the NFC North, so I'll take that. Go Pack, go, baby. And the Titans got their second win this season.
Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers, dude.
For Pittsburgh?
No, Aaron Rodgers is Steelers.
Jordan Love. It's Toyota-thon, man. It just does something different for him.
Yeah, he's doing good with the Steelers, man.
Aaron?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Tomlin's the best coach for him anymore, but we'll see what
really?
happens. Yeah, a lot of fans are calling for him to part ways. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Rodgers has pretty much said this is his last year anyway. So people know that.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
I tell you what, man, that dude, he must be really, really good. I've never been a big fan, but I mean, could come out because he's older and still like just be
still slinging it like he is,
just taking it on, man.
And to get the praise he does from like people like Tom Brady, like that says a whole lot.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome
for sure. The other thing that I had to bring up is you brought up these Kelly green pants and the whole outfit. Is there a picture of the outfit?
Well, there's a picture of my pink sweater.
So we have part of the outfit. And we can plug in the rest in our brains.
I really don't think there's a picture of my pants. But man, I remember them so vividly, man.
I can see
if they're that green, how could you forget them?
Kelly green, man, they were so bright and it looked so good together.
Between that and the yellow button up, John Deere could have sponsored you. The pink's what threw it off.
Man, the
a
pink
bit.
sweater
a little
dude
bit.
was, and Julie would always be like, "Hey, look, man, like it's got to be a cable knit sweater, cable knit." I didn't know what that was.
means.
But
Yeah.
I think it's like it's how it's like how it's made or something.
Oh, is it like the one that looks like it's twisting?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Gotta have that texture to it.
Yeah, cable knit.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, that's a special.
Speaking of sweaters, I have a thing for ugly sweaters this time of year. Not just Christmas, but like bring me all the '90s dad sweaters. Like make me Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
And I was wearing one on Sunday. And it was a new one I got, and I love it because the colors are very much some of my favorites. And one of the students looked at me, he's like, "You getting some like pre-gaming in for the ugly sweater contest on the 17th?"
Like, no, this one's serious.
I'm like, "You just fueled the fire even more." That's how I know this sweater's doing its job. And so,
that picture, man.
but
That's
he's just
awesome.
looking at me. He's like, you doing some practice?" He's like, "You're not competing, are you? That'd be a little unfair." And I'm like, "No, I'm judging. This shows I'm qualified for it."
That's awesome.
Where is that picture?
Editor, just put it in right here.
Speaking of editing, last week I started Jeff's gonna love this, an AI based platform that edits the videos for me.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. So it like changes camera angles.
It
So
adds a
somebody's-
sixth finger to your hand sometimes, but it's fine.
Exactly. It puts red horns on my head. But
Yeah.
other than that,
So if somebody's ever talking and you don't see them, that's why. I'd go through it and make sure it's all right. But what would take normally like an hour and a half took 2 minutes last week.
are you kidding me?
It was insane. Yeah.
Really?
Just watching it, yeah, it's wild.
Oh, here it is, dude.
There it is.
Good.
That's awesome.
Huh?
I think you need to bring the stash back.
Mm.
Dude, that stash was horrible. It
Well,
took,
that's-
it took me like 21 years to grow it. So
Yeah.
I love that thing, dude. I wore that sweater all the time. And Julie was like, "You can't wear it multiple times a week."
Did you even wash it?
Here, I'm gonna send this to myself,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put it on the TV on the screen for everyone to see.
Dude, you ought to, man. Just so people will know that when I tell those stories, they're actually true. That's not
amazing.
ministerially speaking.
The
just wanted
pink
to
sweater.
combine some of the stories. Like you left the pink sweater at home, and your dad's mad at you, and you had to call your mom. Like, "Mom, Dad's still mad at me. I need to get my sweater."
Dude,
Me and
no,
Julie are taking
I'll-
pictures again. I gotta get my sweater. His dad's still mad at
I'll
me.
come home and say, "Mom, does Dad still have my pink sweater on?"
Yeah.
If he does, I'm not coming home.
No,
Wait
he
a
was,
minute. Wait,
no,
other story.
he was mad at you, so he used it as a grease rag, and that's what killed the sweater.
Oh no!
You blew the tire off his car, so he used your sweater as a grease rag.
I don't know that Mom and Dad ever saw that sweater.
All right, well, getting into the message, so kind of carrying our 2 Corinthians series into Christmas. I love the idea of, it's cool how God plans these things out
Yes.
for us, but getting into the idea of generosity, because a lot of people think more generously around Christmas time,
Right.
maybe out of obligation, maybe out of the love of the time of year, who knows, but I liked it was cool just applicably for where we're at in it. To get us kind of into the conversation, you mentioned kind of this distinction in giving and generosity.
Yeah.
Dig into that a little bit, and why does this matter when it refers to discipleship?
Yeah, I think that over the years, people have been trained to give out of obligation, and so we've always kind of kept that and maintained that philosophy and mentality of, hey, now once you become a Christian, here are the things you have to do. You have to do this. 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 And there's nothing wrong at all with. I mean, part of the Great Commission obviously is teaching them to obey all things I've commanded you. Right? We just got to be clear on what that is and why that is, because I think that's a big part of the discipleship journey. Is, man, why? So why do I need to live generously? Why do I need to, why do I need to have these disciplines in my life? And we've been so used to teaching it from an obligatory standpoint that giving has just automatically fallen into that.
Yeah.
And we've never made that transfer from, what does it look like for us to move from an Old Testament view of what the Jews were called to do under the law, and then what we're called to do under the new covenant of grace.
Right.
And what does that look like? And I think that's that shift from, being a giver to living generously.
Yeah.
And I think it covers a much broader space than just, okay, I'm going to give this certain amount every Sunday and I'm good. Now I'm good. I've fulfilled my obligation and I'm good. I don't have to do anything else outside of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think from our, because I think it's us, again, if we think about bearing the image of Christ and living out who Christ is in our life, then it makes perfect sense that we would be generous people, you know, but you're not going to be generous if you think you're responsible for creating resources and developing resources and holding on to resources and all of those types of things. So, you know, I think it's a big picture and not just, okay, I need to go figure out, because even being generous can be obligatory. You know, it could be just the time of the year. Well,
Right.
we're not just supposed to be generous during December.
Yeah.
We're supposed to live generously all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's the angle I kind of want to get people to begin to understand is, man, giving is just an outflowing of my generosity.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just don't view it as an obligation or anything like that. Man, I want to do it. I think that's why Paul talks about, we won't cover chapter 9, but because we've done it previously in the last couple of years, but chapter 9 where he talks about, you know, he always uses these phrases, according to one's ability and not under compulsion. Like Paul mentions that so many times, not under compulsion and according to one's ability.
Yeah.
And those two things taken together, he's kind of letting them know, hey, let's not let this slip into a law-driven obligation. Man, let's let this be an overflow of who we are as believers in Christ.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And to kind of back, you said that you can give without being generous, but you can't be generous without giving.
Right.
I think to back that, there's some of the most generous people that I know. I actually asked one of them fairly recently, like, how did you learn to be so generous?
Right.
Like, how do you get to a point? Like, is it growing up, a family thing? Like how are you so generous? And a lot of people that are super generous don't know that they're generous,
Right.
just because
That's
it's
right.
who they are.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And it's literally, like you said, it's according to what you have, but it's also it's an overflow of their love for people and their love for
Right.
the Lord, and understanding, like you talked about at the end about daddy's money, understanding that it's not ours in the first
Right.
place, it's his. And so it is who we are to
Yes.
share that and to live life the way they do. So
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Cody.
And what I've also seen for some people is they don't give from a state of generousness, but a state of selfishness. So it's like, oh, if I give this, I'm going to get this in return.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, we see time and time again throughout Scripture where people
Yeah.
are faithful with their financial resources or whatever God gives them and how they're rewarded to that. And we automatically think, oh, that's going to happen to me.
Yep.
And so it's like, oh, we're going to keep doing this because we know we're just going to get something out of it instead of it being that act of faith. Like, no, God, I trust you. And we can have some expectation. Like we see even with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego before they were tossed in the furnace, we have every belief that God's going to rescue us in this situation. But even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow down to you and we still serve him.
Yeah, he's
And
still
so-
God. That's
yeah,
right. I mean, at
and
the end of the
so-
day, and I think that's, you know, it is hard because I don't know that I necessarily like hearing people say, well, you know, like people say you can never outgive God.
Yeah.
Well, that always kind of, they don't mean it this way, but that always kind of has a return connotation.
Yeah.
That, hey man, don't ever worry about what you give because you're going to get it back.
Yeah.
Well, that may or may not be the truth, you know, and that can't be our motivation for giving. You know, like we got to be careful that generosity is not an investment program.
Exactly. People want what's our ROI on
Yeah,
that?
yeah, you know. So okay, so man, no, man, we just live generously.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I really did learn that from like watching Julie and watching her and her dad interact with each other and how she viewed her dad. And I mean, it was just, I'm telling you, man, like it's, and I talked to her after lunch about, because I didn't tell her I was going to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like, hey, listen, now today I'm going to, you know,
Just so you know.
yeah,
You ever
yeah,
been
yeah. Because if I would have, she'd have went, no, you
Yeah.
know, but
you ever been in the doghouse because of that?
no.
Maybe on the
not-
cranberry sauce, but
yeah, no doubt, dude. No, not really. You know, you got to be careful sometimes. But I guess I'm just
Yeah.
one of those people who I'm just very transparent because it's so funny because like I think about it and it's like even in this situation, like Julie said, she goes, I it's really like I appreciate how you feel about my dad and all that. She said, I just would not want people to think, oh, she was just this little rich kid, you know, running around, blah, blah, blah. Because
Yeah.
it really wasn't that at all. I mean, it wasn't that because she never portrayed herself that way and still
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, because we're not. I mean, we're not. But you know, her dad's done fine and all that, and they had a completely different life than what I had. But it was just me, and all that's relative, right? All that's relative. So when you have nothing, something is a lot. You know what I mean? Like for me, something was a lot. So you know, it was surprising for me to know that she had a checking account when she was in college. You know, like who does that? You know, and then you know I would watch her and her dad interact, but truly, like her view, even though she may or may not have understood it then, was so biblical because she had so much trust in her dad that she just never thought about it.
Yeah.
And so she could be generous with whatever she was given because she just had so much trust and faith in her dad.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't like her dad was just out, you know, making it rain. You know, it's not that.
Throwing out all the cabbage.
No, you got to keep some cabbage in the patch, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, but it was just that, you know, her dad did a great job of teaching, you know, being a really good steward of what God has given them. And they were never extravagant by any stretch of the means at all. But it was just like, he just loved her and she loved him and she had so much trust in him and he would do that. And I mean, like, I'd just be standing there, dude. I was like,
where's my cabbage at?
Yeah. Like, dude, I'll take a radish. You got any radishes? You know,
Can I get a Brussels sprout?
Turnips? You got any turnips over there?
I do love Brussels sprouts.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah. But I think that's like the heart of it is like the faithfulness to God, knowing that he's going to be faithful to us. I mean, we're not making abundance back, but we know he's going to supply for us, just like in the passages we see in the Gospels where he says, don't be anxious about tomorrow.
That's right.
Let it worry about itself. Look at the flowers of the field and how they wither and fade, but God provides for them in season. Same with the sparrows and the birds of the air. If he takes care of them, how much more is he going to take care of you who he loves? Yeah. And so,
and you know, so through that and through our lives, you know, he's Mr. Lay's taught me, hey, here's how you take care of your family. Here's how you love your wife well. Here's how you take care of your family well. And so he's created a great model, you know, for me to watch him be so generous.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll give you another quick example. When we were church planners in Dahlonega years and years ago, and we built this church, so we built our first building, and so we poured the slab, and then the Baptist builders came in. We had enough money to buy the materials, so they framed it, they dried it in for us. So, you know, Julie's mom and dad came to visit us, and he wanted me to show him around, and I did. And, you know, that's all the money we had to do what we did, you know, and didn't have any drywall. It was just all studs at that point. Well, you know, next week, probably either Tuesday or Wednesday, here comes this big truck pulling up. This big truck pulls up, and they start unloading drywall. And I'm like, we're like, well, what are we doing here? Like, we didn't order this. He said, no, you're good. Well, I knew exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Know? And Mr. Lay saw a need, but that's just his heart, you know, and I've watched him over the years do that so many times, and because that's not what matters to him.
Yeah.
You know? And so again, so much of that, like for me and my development, because I wasn't raised in church. I wasn't raised in that kind of environment. For God to put me in an environment where he says, hey, look, I'm going to plant you here. I'm going to give you an unbelievable person to marry. And then I'm also going to give you a family that I'm going to teach you like so many biblical principles through how they do their life, you know? And not that it was always perfect. I mean, nobody is, but I can just tell you, man, like, yes, did I learn a ton at seminary? I absolutely did. But I've learned so much, you know, from just watching a family follow the Lord and be generous and just live the way they live. And it continues on.
Yeah.
You know, so now I'm trying to be that person as well and to model that kind of generosity to others. And it's funny, man, because like I mentioned this in the service, you know, if I don't know if I said all three services, but if you've ever been poor, you never forget that.
Yeah.
So my struggle to where Julie's isn't is when I get a little bit of money, I get real. I gotta be really good steward. I gotta protect, you know, because I mean, it may not come back around.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just, I know that's from how I was raised and not having anything to now, man, the Lord, you know, has blessed us and taken care of us, to not kind of step back into that.
Yeah.
And just realize, hey, listen, man, just trust God, be a good steward. I mean, don't be just frivolous, but you know, and just, it's okay.
Yeah. And knowing God's still good regardless of what, if it's enough for us just to get by or if there's abundance in it.
That's right, man.
It's like with the story of Job. It's like, what if God didn't multiply everything
Yeah.
back at the end, and God's just like, hey, you weren't in sin. I'm still God.
Yeah.
I have all this power. I'm still with you.
Yeah.
And it just ended there.
Yep, that's right.
God's still just as good, even
Yep.
though he gave him all of those blessings as well.
Yep.
Because that's not what dictates his goodness.
No.
That's just him adding extra cream to the top of
Well,
what he's
and
got
at the
going
end of the
for it.
day, man, he is faithful.
Yeah.
Like that's just the end of the day. Like if I could go back and tell my younger self something like Cody, go back to your position when I was right in your shoes, man, as a student pastor, I would just say, hey, don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry so much. Don't worry as much as you probably did back then, because God's faithful.
Yeah.
You know, I can look back and I can tell you it's God's faithful.
Yeah.
You know, but we all have to live through it.
For sure. And Kayla and I are getting to see some cool moments in that with baby number 2 on the way, and just
Yeah.
moving into a house out here with just how the house market situation is, cars breaking down and things.
Yeah.
It's like, man, how are we going to do this? So regardless of where we're at, we may have to call some audibles here and there, but we got to keep being faithful in this area of generosity to the Lord.
That's right.
He's going to take care of us, and it's been cool to see how he has through that process.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's right.
And so, but knowing it may not be an exuberance, but again, like we're faithful to him, he's faithful to us, and he
That's
promises
exactly
that.
right.
So,
Yep.
How much do you think spiritual gifts plays into all this? I was thinking about, because I think giving or a giver is part of the spiritual gifts. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But generosity being different in that, is generosity more of a spiritual discipline that kind of plays into all the spiritual gifts, or
Yeah.
is it, how does that play itself out? Because talking about Mr. Lay and other people I can think of, and
Yeah.
sometimes even myself, just the way I'm wired in spiritual gifting with like on the mercy side or the help side. Do you think that fleshes itself out more in certain spiritual gifts, or is it something that kind of ties into all of them like love?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I think specifically in the area of finance, I think that giving is a spiritual gift. So I think for some people, they're going to see the need, respond to the need. They're going to give to the need because that's how they feel blessed. That's how they feel, that's where they receive joy. But I think we're called to be generous in all of our areas, right? So I think that's what you see in scriptures. He says, be generous in your love for others, be generous in your mercy. So I think there's an attitude of generosity that goes beyond finances that we're supposed to have for others, right? I just think about, the generosity of grace that we should have for people. That I think that like that's where we can really, and yes, Paul was talking about finances this time because he was dealing with the contribution for the church at Jerusalem, but I think generosity is such a picture of grace.
yeah.
So, man, are we generous with grace when it comes to our fellow believers in Christ? Are we generous with our love? Are we generous with mercy and those types of things? I always think about this. Man, are we giving people the benefit of the doubt? To me, that's generosity and grace.
Yeah.
Right? And I think sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. So I think that's where we have to be challenged to be generous. Man, people are going to have bad days. People are going to not respond the right way all the time.
Yeah.
So can we be generous in our love to them? Can we be generous in our grace with them? And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. How do we, like, especially in seasons that become busier or more difficult? I'm kind of in one of those seasons right now. So in those seasons, how do we protect ourselves on the kind of spiritual discipline side when we want to be more generous than we have the ability to? Like, is there a level that at what point do we not shut it off, but reel back to take care of ourselves? I don't know if this question even sounds selfish, and it is a very, like, this is a genuine question that I was thinking through in the shower this morning. But like,
Great place to have these thoughts.
Yeah, right. But just in those times, like, it feels like when you're pouring out and pouring out and pouring out, and certain situations can become all consuming in ways. And I think naturally I, in some ways, have thought, well, I just need to completely disconnect. But then is that a lack of trust or faith or generosity, or where's the balance in all that?
Are you talking about like specifically in the area of finances, or
I think just generosity in
general? Yeah. Man, I think one of the things we have to remember, and we have to hear what Paul said in this passage in chapter 8 and we kind of hit it at the very end, but he said, I'm not talking about you doing without so that somebody can have.
Yeah.
You know, he said, out of your abundance, you need to be generous. And so I think that's a really, really important principle because we've got this mentality that, man, like if I don't give, like I've heard people say this, man, you're not giving until you give till it hurts. You got to give till it hurts. Give till it hurts. Well, are you saying that I'm not really giving until I give and it puts me in a deficit?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what you read Paul saying there.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul said very clearly, he said, he actually kind of said, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's out of your abundance that I want you to be generous with.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be careful in our teaching here because we've taught people that now, and it's this whole mentality of like, if we don't suffer for Jesus, we're not living for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I remember going on a mission trip in Belize and feeling guilty because I had air conditioning in my room. Well, you're not suffering for Jesus if you're doing that. Well, that's crazy, man. I mean, Jesus suffered for us, right? So there's this idea and view that, man, if we're just not out making it the worst we can, then it's not for Christ. Well, I didn't read in that chapter of Paul saying, hey, you need to give until you have a deficit so that they can have something.
Yeah.
I mean, many, many times he uses the word equality there.
Yeah.
And he's not talking about we all make the same amount of money. That's not what he's talking about because people are all in different levels, man. Yeah. And yet we have to be careful that we don't get judgmental about somebody living at a certain level and somebody all that's relative. But he's saying, you just need as a brother in Christ, sister in Christ, to make sure that our needs are met.
Yep.
So, man, if we see a brother, sister in Christ, and we have the opportunity to be generous out of our surplus to them, then by all means we should do that. So, I think, and I think when you talk about like time and all of those things, like, so here's a great question. Like, if you think you're not being generous with your time, do you have a great surplus of time right now? Right? So if you look at it and apply the same principle to time as Paul's teaching here with finances, then, man, do I have a great surplus of time? And if I do have a surplus of time, okay, so I may choose to go and be generous and help somebody instead of going to play golf that day.
Yeah.
But does that mean I'm going to not eat dinner with my family to go be generous with somebody with my time?
Right.
Well, I would think that would be creating a deficit maybe in my family's life instead of. So I don't hear him calling us to that. Somebody may disagree with that, but I hear Paul talking about, hey, listen, out of your abundance, take that and be generous with that so that there could be equality, that people's needs are met.
Yep.
So the way I read that is it doesn't really seem like I'm supposed to be over here sitting on this high amount of abundance in my life when other people in the body aren't having their basic needs met.
Yeah.
So be generous out of your abundance and trust God in that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like it specifically mentions in verse 12, for it is the eagerness is there, the gift is acceptable according to what a person has, not according to what he does not have.
Yeah.
And so like there's different seasons where you may have abundance in different areas, and that's where you're called to pour that out.
But
then there's other
right.
seasons you may not have it, and you're not called to not be there for each other in different ways, but it's maybe a different way you go about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the time to dedicate to it, but you could reach out. Like, how much time does it take to send an encouraging message and say, hey, just thinking about you, praying for you. Is there anything we can be praying specifically about for you?
Yeah.
And so maybe it's just as simple as that, but it still could go miles with that person, what they're going through.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like last week for me was one of those weeks that I did not have an abundance of time.
Yeah.
Because we had funerals, we had some deaths going on. We had, you still got a Wednesday night message you got to come up with. You still got a Sunday morning message you got to, so like all of these things always still have to happen. And we all have those, whatever those things are for our rhythms and our jobs. So like last week was definitely one of those weeks where I was just like, okay, I can't do one more thing this week. Oh, okay. Oops. We're going out to eat with somebody. I'm like, I don't have the capacity to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like, it would have been difficult last week for me to feel like I had an abundance of time where if somebody called and said, hey man, could you come help me? And I still would have done it.
Yeah.
But I think we have to just understand these principles and see what he's asking.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And be generous there.
That's a great word. Yeah. Like even I was just thinking of the first one that came to mind, like with everything that happened with the Jenkins home, like when I heard that like they lost everything, my gut reaction is, and obviously this is irrational, but my gut reaction is like, we'll go live on the street. You just come live in our house.
Yeah.
Like like I want to take care of people. And same thing with like, I've got things that I got to get done, but somebody needs help. My gut is to drop everything, go help them. And then I'll just stay up all night and finish all this stuff. But I think it's a great word to think about the abundance, and also that different seasons, different situations play differently or look differently when in reference to that. But
well, and you got to. This is where I have to help Julie, for example, because she's a very generous person. I have to help her, and I don't want to use the phrase "reel her back," but it really kind of is that, because like she will respond to something immediately. And I go, ho, let's pull back a little bit. Let's before we have 4 people move into our house, let's think through this. Is that really the best thing to do? Is it going to, how's that all going to work? So they're like, for example, without question, like if a staff member comes to our church and they need a place to stay, well, just like you guys did, they can live with us for, a certain amount. Fine. We got plenty of room. Like that's not even an issue. But there are certain things that like she'll just want to immediately respond to something. And I'm like, well, let's think through this. Jesus don't want you to think through it. You just need to, I'm like,
Jesus says act.
yeah. But that's just like, she's just like, you got to do it. You got to do it, So I think again, there's that tendency to, and maybe I'm just trying to be too rational about generosity, but that's kind of my view. Like we're a pretty good balance in that, because like I want to help, but I want to look at the big picture. What's the scope? Something somebody told me one time, man, and I don't know if this is a good business principle and how it ties into your faith, but but it wasn't my dad that told me this, but they always told me, they said, before you get into something, know how you're going to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So always remember that. Before you get into something, know how you're going to get out of it. Because trust me, you're going to come to that point, right?
Yep.
And so sometimes you may say, well, man, I don't know if that's spiritual, because that could keep you from acting sometimes. Yeah, but I kind of go back to where Jesus said, man, you better count the cost.
Yep.
So if you don't count the cost, then you're going to get into something and you're going to realize, I can't finish it. Then you've got this half-built building, and you're going to go, okay, well, what do you. So I think we are supposed to, look at that and think through that. So
for sure.
But anyway, I think all of that works into our desire to be generous, and which is awesome. But I would much rather have somebody I've got to reel back than somebody I've got to push into generosity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned kind of finishing the work of generosity and what that looks like. I know this passage is talking a lot about the Macedonians who were going through that, and you had kind of the end of that story that you wanted to get into in Romans a little bit. Did they actually follow through with what they were encouraged to by Paul in this passage?
Yeah, that's a goodness.
I was back to the picture.
I'm so inept with no, dude. Just what? Whoa. Romans 15. Sorry. Let me pull this up real quick. Yeah. So Romans 15. So Paul, as he's concluding the book of Romans, says this. Okay, here we go. He says in verse 25, now, however, I am on my way to Jerusalem in the service of the Lord's people there. So he's collected the offering. He and Barnabas were collecting the offering, and they were going to take it back to the church at Jerusalem. And in verse 26, he says, for Macedonia and Achaia. Okay, so Corinth was the church in Achaia, right? So Achaia was an Roman area. So Corinth was a church in Achaia. We're pleased to make a contribution for the poor among the Lord's people in Jerusalem. So they came through. What I love, like one of the things I love about exposition, man, is when you do, like when you can see the cultural piece of what was going on. Mm-hmm. Like what was Paul doing? Why was he doing it? Did he complete it? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is historical narrative. Like this is just history. The church, they had the famine. He collected the money. Well, did he ever get around to getting it to them? You got to go into the other books to kind of catch all that. Right. And it says, verse 27, they were pleased to do it, and indeed they owe it to them. So this is real interesting. because he wanted them to be cheerful givers. And so they got it. The Corinthian believers got it. Paul's instruction to them. The Corinthian church was a tough church for Paul. Like it was crazy how the battles he had with them. But no, listen what he says here. He says, and indeed they owe it to them. For if the Gentiles have shared in the Jews' spiritual blessings, they owe it to the Jews to share with them their material blessings. So real interesting concept he kind of introduces there, where he talks about this idea of the church at Jerusalem, which was we call the mother church. I mean, it was out of that church all these other churches sprang up, right? Because a lot of your missionary efforts came out of the church in Antioch. So as it went from Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, then the othermost parts of the world, you see this pattern. It's going to start in Jerusalem. Like that was Jesus' plan. Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, uttermost parts of the world. We know it started in Jerusalem when persecution came after Stephen's stoning. The church the church was scattered because of that into Judea and Samaria, and then from there it went to the uttermost parts of the world. And so, if it hadn't been for the church at Jerusalem, man, the spiritual blessing wouldn't have come to the Gentiles in Corinth.
Yeah.
So Paul's saying, hey, you guys really, and he uses the language you owe, not necessarily, he's not talking about spiritual, because it's not an obligation.
Yeah.
But it was just this debt of service they owed, owed that to the church.
And it was an extension of gratitude for that, saying, hey, you helped us in this end as a sign of thanks and gratitude to that. We want to help you on this side of things.
Absolutely.
So it's not an obligation like, oh, we're slaves to him because of that. No, man, because of the gift you've given us, man, we want to, as you helped us in our sense of need, we want to help you in yours as well.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for you guys, they wouldn't have known the gospel.
Yeah.
So it made me think about, when I read that last week, it made me think about our mission work in England.
Yeah.
Because, the reality is the gospel came to America from England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look at this, Paul's saying, man, you have a debt you owe to those guys. So right now, like England is in a very post-Christian culture, and now we're going to them. So it's like it's almost like it just kind of made me think, man, really good about the work that we're doing there, and it made me think, wow, that's really what we're doing, because now we're going back to them, the people who brought us the gospel. Yeah. And we're going back to them to share the gospel now.
Yeah.
And helping them any way we can.
Absolutely.
So it's really a neat correlation between what we're a part of right now and really what the churches in Achaia were experiencing.
Absolutely.
What Paul called them to.
And to that kind of obligation privilege side, like it is a privilege to be able, being that we have the gospel because they brought it over, obviously the Spirit, but it's our privilege to be able to go back and to pour into them and to hopefully bring it back to that post-Christian culture.
Yeah. And do you sense, I know you've been over there, Cody, how many, twice?
Twice.
You've been twice. Like, do you sense and feel that when you're there? I mean, is there a really a level of appreciation those guys have when you're there that it's very clear you see that?
Oh, for sure, because a lot of the things we're able to do, they're not able to make happen in themselves. And so especially this year when we were there, the amount of schools we were able to go to, they could have done some programs with them, but the fact that we were able to multiply out the works and the things we were able to do in those, and then relationships we're able to help build too. Yeah. Especially for us, we're almost a novelty over there. Like, it's a group of Americans. They can come in and talk about American stuff and tie it into this lesson we're doing, but also just the gospel we're able to show in those moments too. Has been very beneficial for them, and they've been nothing but appreciative of that. Yeah. And I think it's also just a shot in the arm for them too. And this is one of my favorite things. Back when my previous church, we'd go to Utah, and we'd work with Morgan Grace in Morgan, Utah, and they were the only evangelical church in their entire county. Wow. And so we're we have the Highway of Heaven here in Lebanon. They were the only church. The next one you had to drive 30 plus minutes to get to another church in that area. But when we were hanging out with their students, it was so beneficial for them to realize, oh, we're not alone in this. Yeah. I mean, we're surrounded by either atheists in our school or Mormons, and we don't agree with either of those, but we still what's that tension? How do we root in this? And so just letting their students come over and spend time with our students was one of the biggest things. And it really reinforcing our students too, man, we really take this for granted, and we need to lean into that. But when we go over there, especially the Hope service they have on Thursday nights where we get to have a meal with them, we get to interact with them in the service, one of us gets to teach. And it's usually our last time seeing them too, and just the emotion that's felt in that, you can tell man, they just needed the encouragement of knowing we have other believers that are going hand in hand with us, even if it's on a different part of the planet, but we're there for each other, and we understand what you're going through. Maybe some different instances of it, but we're there for each other through that as God's unified us together.
That's awesome.
So
that's cool.
So kind of staying in that lane and also pulling in, you mentioned the daddy's money side, the example of Julie. We talked about that a little bit, but when we look at it in our perspective of our money, but not just our money, our gifts, our time, our everything being ultimately given by God, what are some, where do you see believers, people in the church, or also even yourself struggling to trust or to believe that God won't run out of those things?
Yeah, I think over the years it's because it's like I saw that modeled for me, demonstrated for me, but then all of a sudden when I'm the daddy, world looks like a little different. You know what I'm saying? Because it's okay
you see
now
behind the curtain.
yeah. So now I've got to view this the very same way, and with obviously limited resources versus not so. Not that it was unlimited, but you know what I'm saying? Like definitely a completely different picture.
Yep.
So but I've still got to have that same kind of trust and faith. Mm-hmm. So I've got to understand that, hey, listen, this is, but see, I think we assume responsibility for the development of those resources. Mm-hmm. And I know, like when I was doing a lot of training with student pastors, and they would always want to talk about budget, man. Like, how do you look at your budget? How do you view your budget? And I would always tell guys, I would say, listen, man, your budget is probably the least amount of money you're going to spend in your student ministry, because God's going to provide. God's going to take care of you guys. Like if you have a need and you really want something done, and there's always going to be people popping up that's going to help you accomplish those things. And so it's not that you're like you don't just go frivolously spending a ton of money. You got to be a good steward to what you've been given, but don't ever think that's it. Mm-hmm. And I think what we do is that we look at what we're bringing in and what God's providing for us, and we think that's it. And I've seen so many times, God make things happen within the context of what He's provided for us, but I've also seen God provide in external ways things that I never planned for. And so while like I'm the planner in our family, and I look at that and look at things and manage, and Julie's not. So I've got to be careful that I'm not putting my faith in myself, and realizing that, you know what, man, God's going to take care of us. And so we're going to be good stewards, but we're also going to trust God with what we have. I think that's the biggest thing, Cameron, is like you guys got to trust God with what you have. Like that's such an important piece of the puzzle. Yeah. Because here's what's easy to do. What's easy to do is to look at our finances and say, you know what, man, like we really can't afford to do this, and so we're not going to do this. And so we find ourselves kind of holding back on what we would trust God with. I mean, we got to trust God with all of our finances, not just a portion of it. Yep. And so as a part of that, because we don't give out of obligation, none of you guys are obligated to give, but it's a discipline that we have in our lives that we say, man, this is an elementary way for me to demonstrate my trust in Christ. So here's these limited amount of resources that God's given us, and we've got stuff that we've got to care for and take care of. But you know what, man, I'm going to trust God with what He's given me. And so I'm going to give generously out of that, so that, man, it's just a way for me to demonstrate trust. So you always like, and I do believe in the principles of, and I'm not really in a great, not believer is not the right word, but I'm not going to give so I can give back. I can get back. Like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to give and think it's an investment plan. Hey man, I can get 8% over here, but I can get 20% over here. It's not about that.
Building up mansions in glory.
Yeah, no, it's not about that at all. But I do think it's a demonstration of trust. And I do believe the principle where God says, he who is faithful in small things will become rulers over much. Like, I've always believed that. And I've always thought to myself, man, if God can't trust me making $35,000 a year, that I'm going to be generous with that, how can He trust me with 50?
Right. Yeah.
How can He trust me with 75? Or how can He trust me with whatever?
Yep.
Because if it comes from Him, and I trust that it comes from Him, it's not about me doing a certain amount of work and earning a certain amount of money. I think it's higher than that. I think it's, man, can God see? Because here's the thing. I believe that the Bible teaches what we will be doing in eternity has everything to do with how he can trust us here with what he's given us here. So whatever my role is in eternity and how what he's going to have me doing is based on what he can trust me with here. Because that principle actually comes out of the parable of talents, where he says, guy was given 10, the guy was given 5, the guy was given 2.
Right.
And what did they do with those? And he says, he who is faithful over the small will become rulers over much. Yeah. And that's got I think it has a meaning today, and I think it's got an eschatological meaning for later. Mm-hmm. Because we are going to be judged for what we've been given and how we were stewards of that, and what did we trust? Did we trust that? Because think about the guy that only had 2. What did he do with it?
Buried it. He
buried it, man. He hid it. Because I knew you were rough and you were mean and you were going to demand.
So I want to make sure I had something to get back to.
And I was going to make sure I just had and the whole problem was not that guy didn't understand principles. He didn't understand the Father.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because he said, I did this because I knew who you were.
Yep.
And that was the problem. The problem was he had a misconception of who his father was.
Yeah. And then it's interesting the way the master flips it on him. It's like, well, if you need me to be like this, then why didn't you do what I told you to?
That's exactly right. Why didn't you at least put it in the bank and make some interest? Like, if you knew that's who I was, then why didn't you do that?
Yeah, so it's like you just made a poor excuse for the lack of effort in this.
That's exactly right. So I really think it is like, man, just be faithful in the small things.
Yeah.
Like trust God in that, and I can just tell you that is what I think, man, God says, okay, I can trust you a little bit more. Yeah. I can trust you a little bit more. I trust you a little bit more. And I use that in life with our kids. Like in my boys, man, like they have a skateboard and they would want a really nice bicycle. I mean, and literally the skateboard was the thing. And I'm like, so what makes me think you're going to take care of a bicycle when that skateboard lays out in the yard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So learn how to take it, put it up, take care of it. So, and if you take care of that, then I know that I can trust you with my resources, and you'll take care of this.
Yeah.
So it's not about did you earn it. It's not about have you done enough to make me feel like I can. No. I just want to know, can you take care of what you have?
Yeah.
And if you can take care of what you have, then I know that if I give you more, you can take care. I can trust you. Mm-hmm. So it's all about trust, man.
Yeah, and I think it shows the value we have in those things too. Yeah. Like, okay, do you even value the skateboard enough to? Are you going to value the bike from that point forward? Okay, well, you value what I've given you already, so I understand and that you're going to value this, and because you understand the value of it, how it's been given to you, and the means you've received it.
And it comes down to, my kids will tell you, there are two things that they knew I would not put up with. Mm-hmm. One was disrespect to their mother. 2 was ungratefulness. But dude, I'm gonna tell you something. Ungratefulness, bro. And I guess it was because of how I was raised and what I didn't have, and what I have now, and how grateful I am for that. Man, bro, you want to get under my skin? Let me give you a pair of shoes, and you go, I don't care about those. Bro, I just paid $150 for a pair of shoes, and what? Dude.
They're not the color I want.
Bro, yeah. No, I don't care. Whatever, man. They're not this. They're not that. Man, that don't roll with me.
Yeah.
Because then I start going, let me tell you something. I wore shoes and I had and they're like, and here's the crazy thing. Dude, they don't want to hear those stories. They have no context of that. Like, yes, would I wear shoes to school and we would have to put paper in the bottoms of them because the rubber? Sure, yes, I did. Like, I wore tennis shoes to school with cardboard in the bottom of them because you got one pair of shoes, and we played hard, and if they wore out, they just wore out. That's just the way it was. There just wasn't money to buy another pair. So I'm not trying to be, oh, poor me. That's just reality.
Those black tops.
Like, I remember doing that, and it's okay. Like, I wasn't depraved or deprived, and it's fine. Yeah. But when I got to the point where I could buy my kids shoes, and I always said, like, I'm never gonna allow my kids to have to do that. It's not that my dad had the money and just was mean. We just didn't have the money. You know what I mean? My dad did the best we could with what he had, without question. But I'm gonna spend $150 on a pair of tennis shoes, and you're gonna act what?
Yeah,
dude. Don't you get me mad now? I'm fired up.
Yeah.
I think
But-
you do that to yourself.
I do know I do.
Yeah.
I get tied up in a knot about that kind of stuff, dude. So I think gratefulness has so much to do with our view of generosity.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Because man, like I'm this way today. Like I'm this way today, man. It's so funny. You go home and look at my closet. Dude, I got all my little clothes hanging up, and I take care of them. And I mean, I hang them all the same way. And I mean, because man, it's just like it's such a like you just don't know what it makes me feel like to know. Like I got more than 2 shirts. Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have to wear the same pair of blue jeans every day, you know, for a week and then wash them and wear them again. Like it's still at my age a big deal
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm so grateful for what God's done in our life. And so like I want my kids to understand that and reflect that, you know, and never be this attitude of I expect it
Yeah.
or I deserve it.
And I think that's where we see a lot. And it's so interesting that you mentioned that, like, even on the faith side of things, you have the people who are first generation Christians within their families and they have that gratitude and that understanding. But then you go down the line sometimes where they get that expectation or like the demanding of it. It's like just interesting to see how that's just sown within humanity
Absolutely.
like, across the board. And all the
Absolutely.
different things. That's where it goes from like generations that appreciated it, those who expected it, those who like lose sight of it, and then or against it, and just you see that in like post-Christian nations and things like that, and just kind of that cycle of it.
To where it just gets to where it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what's sad.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to end on this. We at Emmanuel have a very generous church, a very loving
We do.
body.
Yes.
Not every church is like that.
Yep.
So what would change in a church if instead of it just being a seasonal emphasis on around Christmas time, or we're in the middle of a building campaign, and so people were being very generous in that regard. What would change it if generosity became a church culture as opposed to just a seasonal emphasis?
Yeah, I think, and I'm not just saying this, but I think our church has that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think our church has a mentality of generosity, and I'll tell you what I think creates that. I think 2 things create that, and this is just what I've seen over the last 9 years. I think gratefulness creates that, and I think trust creates that. I think those are the 2 things. I think when a body of believers trust their leadership and they know how grateful their leadership is, like I think those 2 things create a culture of generosity.
Yeah.
Because you have people who want, like right now, we've got a great culture in our church where our people as a staff, they want to bless us. They want to take care of us. They want to be generous to us.
Yeah.
And they are. Like it's amazing that you guys will experience that this year, and you'll have people in your ministries give you cards and give you gift cards, and they just want to bless you, man. Like they just want to be generous. And I think what creates that is trust and gratefulness.
Yeah.
And I think when people see that, I mean, that's like even with my own kids, man. When I see my kids respond to us with a heart and sense of gratefulness and trust, man, what do you want to do? Man, you want to bless them more.
Yep.
And so I think we've got a great culture of generosity at our church.
Absolutely.
And we have some very generous people in our church.
Yep.
In all ways, shapes, and forms. I mean, dude, listen, like here's a great example. It's a great example. There's one senior adult lady who every Sunday gives me a little candy bar because I preach 3 services and she wants to make sure I've got the energy to get
You gotta have those
3
blood
services.
sugars up.
Yeah. And so you know what? Like I just think about that and I think, man, like she thinks about that every Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's such a great picture of generosity.
Yeah.
That I never want to take that for granted.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was an old adage that his name's Scott Lang. He's a leadership guy that would come and talk to our marching band there in Broken Arrow. And he would often say, when it comes to organizations, the more you give, the more you get. The more you get, the more you have to give.
Yeah.
And so for us, like the more you give into the practice time, building this together and doing all these things, the more you're going to get out of the experience.
Yep.
The more you get from it, you got to keep giving into it to keep it up to that or take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's
and so I
exactly
think
right.
within the church, like the more we give into supporting each other, looking out for each other, the more we're going to be able to get from that community that we're building, the way God moves through it.
Yeah.
But if we want to keep it going to that or even take it to the next level of faithfulness that God calls us to, we got to keep giving more into it.
Yep.
And it's that back and forth system in it. We give into it, but look at what we get out of it. Just because, again, we show to the church, man, we're grateful and thankful for you guys. They pour that back out to us.
That's right.
And it's this back and forth system. And again, it's all about the equality that's mentioned there.
Yeah.
We give according to our need or what we have to those needs, and then it's able to be met in that and make sure everyone's
Right.
taken care of.
Well, and you think like our church responds in generosity with us because we give to them.
Yeah.
Now, what we give to them is we give our it's a relationship based, but like I think they see us, man, being our best, doing our best, trying to serve the best we can, and I think they see that and they experience that. What do they want to do? Man, they want to respond in generosity to us.
For sure.
So it's that great back and forth, that you get.
Yeah,
It's
and I
so
think
it's so healthy.
And I think that's how it changes the culture of a church. Like it starts with the culture change.
Yeah.
The way it continues to impact it is that it's that constant spurring on of one another and encouraging one another that we see in Scripture.
Yeah.
And I love the way that Paul labels it to the church at Thessalonica, like, hey, encourage and build each other up as you've already been doing.
Yeah.
Like it's the standard. Like we're called to, like you should already, like you already are doing this. And for us, it's like, man, that's the goal. We should have like someone to write to us, hey, as you're already doing these things, keep doing that.
That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
so-
Yep. And I love the reminder that you brought up in Romans that it's the physical giving, it's the practical here, I can touch, feel, see now generosity, but then there's a spiritual component as well, and those two go hand in hand.
And that's right.
So understanding, I think that's what Paul's getting at here is like understanding what Jesus is. He literally gave everything for
Right.
us. He became the lowest of the low so that we
Yep.
could be seen in his righteousness. It makes no sense. So why would we not want to give everything that we've been given back to him, but then
Right.
to be able to be generous with his people and be good stewards of that. So I think we see as we continue to be generous and see our church continue to be generous, that grows and is used in both a practical way, but also in a spiritual way. So the gospel spreads as well.
It's bearing the image of Jesus.
Yep.
I mean, generosity is bearing the image of Jesus. That's who he is.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it's good stuff. Very timely with the season that we're in as a church, but also just the Christmas season and everything that's going on. So
Absolutely. Glad
good stuff.
Cody was with us today.
Glad I was able to make it.
Glad you were generous with your time this afternoon.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be generous with you.
Grateful.
You've been a good steward of your time today. So you will be asked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we'll keep praying for Patty, for her
Yeah,
family.
absolutely.
Looking forward to having her back.
Yeah, her
last
dad,
week.
Ronnie, and I know Joey's mom as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, hitting from both sides.
Yeah,
So.
that's right.
Well, thank you guys for listening. We'll
See you guys next week.